Love the Way You Live with Charlie Lewis, where we connect you with all fabulous people to share the secrets of living a fulfilling and purposeful life, bringing you many subjects in the art and culture field, media and entertainment, food, style, and travel. And today we have joining us the one and only Kysha Harris. Woo, woo, woo. What's happening? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I can't even tell you.
I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you. Well, you guys, Kysha is an independent and creative businesswoman. You have a breadth of experience in advertising, marketing, media, music, like a lot of people here in New York.
Yes.
Production, writing, editing, and you kind of merged all this into a passion for food and the culinary arts and travel. So as you guys out there should know, that Kysha is now the founder of SCHOP.
Yes.
SCHOP.
Yes.
SCHOP.
Exclamation point.
Yes.
Always with exclamation point.
Here in New York City, offering a la carte shopping of prepping and cooking services targeted to business urban professionals.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank
so
you.
let's talk about this.
Okay.
When did your fascination for food all begin?
Oh my goodness. When I think about it, it's, I think it's just been ingrained in me since I was a kid. My stepfather, he's Saint-Tomian. Okay. And so he just loved to cook. He used to make these Brandy Alexander pies and these fruit cakes that every holiday season we'd macerate all the berries, the cherries and stuff on the terrace in the building. And then we make these big batches of fruit cakes and dress them with rum. And then all of his food, my godfather, rest in peace, he was a baker. He used to make brownies there's a pool hall down on the Upper West Side. And he'd make these brownies, and he'd make my favorite dark chocolate covered strawberries. And for my birthday, he'd always take me to a new restaurant.
Okay.
So, and then my mom, she's got her dishes that she likes. Cowley chow chu mein, which I love saying.
Okay.
And my grandmother, exactly. Cowley chow chu mein. And you gotta snap the head back and forth like that.
Yes.
But just, everyone's gotta eat.
Right.
In college, I do big dinner parties for my friends.
Okay.
I mean, without thinking about it.
And where did you go to college?
I went to University of Pennsylvania. I went to the Wharton School.
Okay. And where are you from originally?
In Harlem, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Born and raised, baby. That's the only place.
So, are you when you think of food, did you have Southern upbringing?
I did.
Southern roots.
I did.
Is your family from the South?
Yes, my mom's side of the family is from Opelousas, Louisiana.
Okay.
And my grandmother, Anna Mae Hearn, they grew up in Louisiana, and I found this out later after she had passed, but my grandmother was very independent. Okay. And she left Opelousas and moved to Houston. Okay. Like when she was 16. She was like, I'm tired of being caregiver. My opportunities are limited. I'm gonna go to Houston. And then Houston, she started, from Houston, she went to Chicago.
Okay.
And opened up her own eatery. She had her own restaurant, which I never knew about.
Wow.
And so I have all that Louisiana gumbo,
Creole, crawfish, etouffee, all of that.
My grandmother's gumbo is epic.
Really?
And we like our family now. I guess my grand cousins and all those. There's a lot of people up here. We have gumbo battles.
Okay.
So
I love that.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's like it's the battle of filet versus no filet.
And what's that? What's the
filet? It's a leaf, and like the native Indians, they would dry it out and they'd grind it, and you put it over the top of your gumbo, and it is said to thicken the gumbo a little bit.
Oh, so the roux.
Right. So if you have a Cajun versus a Creole, like a Creole is much thinner.
Okay.
A Cajun, I might be getting this backwards. A Cajun is much thicker.
Yes.
Some use a roux and some don't use a roux.
Right.
So so I have a lot of Louisiana, and then my father's side of the family is from North Carolina, but mainly my mom's side of the family is where I got all of that. Yeah.
But prior to this, as you stated, as I stated, you worked in the advertising field, you worked in television, worked in music, and all of that.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that you would be doing what you're doing now?
I didn't. Here's the thing is that I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I saw Melanie Griffith on working girl with that gray suit on and that briefcase. And I was like, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but I decided I was going to be in business.
Right.
And so I applied early to Penn. I'm fourth generation at Penn.
Okay.
My great-grandfather was one of the very first black students to be at University of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
My grandmother was in nursing school. My aunt Sylvia was in Morton, also class of 74.
Okay.
And I just knew I wanted to be in business. And I was like, I just want to go to the premier business school. And so I did that whole thing. It was really stressful. Came out, did all the perfunctory interviews. Interviewed at Procter & Gamble.
Right.
Interviewed at Quaker Oats.
Exactly. All the consumer side products.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I was like, I know I'm a creative.
Yes.
And I know I need to execute that, but I really love the art of the deal and I love business.
Yeah.
How can I do that? And those were really my only options for myself.
Okay.
I made fourth round and found out from Quaker that they had one position open where they told Penn that they had 4 positions open.
Okay.
And they were recruiting graduate and undergraduate school. And so I think the thing that broke the straw that broke the camel's back is they said, who would you like to have dinner with or meet, alive or dead, and why? And I said, Bob Marley, because he was a prophet.
Right.
And I think they were just like, no, that's not gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Right. Yeah.
So I went back to New York. When I was in high school, I went to Hunter High School, and we have something called an intercollegiate year.
Okay.
And so in my 12th grade, which is my ICY year, I interned at a music label. And so I had made a lot of connections.
Right.
So when the corporate thing didn't happen, I came back to New York and got into music just kind of by default.
Okay.
And that was a great experience. That was a really great experience.
And how long did you do that?
I did that for 93. I did that for 5 years.
Okay.
No, probably 4 years, because I started with Empire, which is a small label, but it had a Premier and Gangstar and J. Ruth Damager and Pal Joey and a whole bunch of other producers. And then I went over to Def Jam and I started working for Chris Lighty.
Okay.
And that was the time of Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Leaders. So kind of there for that, which was really amazing, and got to work on some really important projects.
Okay.
And one thing, Charlie, about me that I would like to share is that, sometimes you don't know where you're going.
Right.
But if you can use every opportunity that you had as a stepping stone to move forward, then that is something that's really beneficial to your career, that you can kind of build your foundation on.
One of the threads that I continuously see in a lot of us is that we didn't have the critical mass in places.
Yes.
Around the globe in different industries like we do today.
Exactly.
That kids do today coming up. So we only could go based on, basically what we saw or basically what we heard, and then we kind of just figured it out. Whereas kids today coming up now with everything with social media and the internet and everything like that, everything is connected. People can see, a wealth of opportunities. So one thing I think here at Love the Way You Live, of what I try to demonstrate and what I try to give to my consumers out there, my people in the podcast world, is that opportunity to see really the array of possibilities and the things that we're doing, people of color are doing. You started doing some writing too after your music business. I did. Talk about that.
Yeah, just to finish that music thought. When I left there, I wanted more opportunity. I was finding great stuff, but I was learning how creatives work and how they bring things to life. And really, the process of that, it's frustrating, but it can be very, very rewarding.
Okay.
And I wanted more opportunity. I wanted to get into film. I moved over to Polygram, doing business affairs. Okay. And ended up going out to Los Angeles, working Universal Pictures for a creative executive. Ended up moving back to New York and did advertising for a while. Okay. And when the agency fell or closed, I said, that's when I figured I'm young enough and I'm stupid enough to start my own business. Okay. And one of the things that actually Russell taught me when I was working at Def Jam was, if you have a lot of creative ideas, nothing is going to happen until you do one thing. Right. And so once you do that one thing, then you can build off of that. Okay. And that's something that I could also take back to Penn and Morton is find out what your core competence is. So once I started cooking, to bring it full circle, once I started cooking, that was my passion.
Okay.
What can I do for my passion that I can find other opportunities? And writing was one of them.
Okay.
And I, one of my high school, elementary friends is the editor, and another one is the publisher for the Amsterdam News, the oldest Black newspaper in the country, over 100 years old.
Right.
Please subscribe.
Yes,
if you,
yes.
it's a good paper. And she said, "Listen, why don't you write something for me?" And I was like, Took a whole year.
Right.
A whole year before I was like, all right, I'll write something. And here we are 14 years later.
Wow.
And I've really exercised this muscle of writing, and it's lent to other things, writing for Experience Harlem, writing for brands, for food brands. And I think that's a way, if you're really loving the way you live, you've got to find the means of pushing it out in other ways.
Right. Okay.
Like this.
Yeah.
I know you're brilliant at what you do, and I love how you've kind of pulled all that together and are trying to push it forward in other ways. So I really applaud that.
I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you. How do you write about food that make people feel connected? Because that's one thing, it's all it's a sensory thing.
Yes.
But how do you get them in? How do you draw them in?
Yes.
Is it your language? Is it the vernacular you use? What is it?
I think it's a combination of things. I think that you first have to start from experience. I never like to tell people how to eat because I think that everyone has their own relationship with food.
Right.
Some people don't like things because of taste or texture. So I really try to avoid saying it's delicious and blah 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 blah. I just let them share my experience. I call my piece an anecdotal column on my life in food.
Okay.
And so that is festivals, that's my interaction with chefs, that's my personal cooking, all that stuff.
Right.
And I think the most important thing is just to be true and honest, and really find it and have my own voice.
Okay.
I think people suss me out now because they like the way I can take a strategy, a brand assignment, and make it unique to that situation.
How do you come up with your assignments that you write about?
Oh my goodness, really from experience.
Okay.
That's one of those things. The other thing is I get assignments. I think once you build up, after 14 years, you build up a certain cachet and credibility, and you take your interests in what other people are doing. I think in food, and that's the thing that opens them up to you.
Okay.
So, I watch a lot of television.
Okay. What do you think of the shows, the cooking shows?
The cooking shows, I've always wanted to just do a piece on that. I'm really loving what Netflix is doing.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, there's some really great
As it relates to food?
As it relates to food. Chef's
Really?
Table is fabulous. It's in its third season or fourth season.
Okay.
This one is on desserts. But there's a piece, David Chang, I cannot remember the name. He was the producer for Mind of a Chef on PBS, but he's got a show on Netflix, and it's called Ugly Food or Ugly something. Seriously Ugly or something like that.
Right.
And he takes each episode, he kind of delves down into the real rich history of what it is. And I think it's episode 7 on fried chicken.
Okay.
And he talks to a combination of people that, there's an African-American couple that lives in Japan, and he talks about the stigma of what fried chicken is, and really it only exists in the United States.
Right.
It doesn't exist outside of the country. And really kind of goes into that. He goes into the hot chicken craze and how two white guys opened up a hot chicken place, but really an homage to the original place that was black.
Right.
But he doesn't dance around it. And I think now in this climate, in this culture, you can't dance around food. It's no longer about putting parsley over the top of something.
Right.
It's really about getting to the soul of what it is. So I really like food television through that medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And in your writing, when you write for the Amsterdam News, are you writing about places and things? Are you writing about dishes or competitions, festivals? Are you doing it all?
I'm doing it all. I mean, it's weekly, so I have 52 opportunities to do that.
Okay.
And when I do a summary at the end of the year, I'm always fascinated about what I've written about and where I've been, and so it's really up to me. I got an opportunity to write for The Root.
Okay.
And it was an assignment, which I really enjoyed. And it really wasn't the way I write, but it was a lot of research. And I got to talk to Michael Tweedy. I got to talk to Alexander Smalls about bringing the African diaspora into your holiday table.
Right.
And so just to talk to really great chefs and great food historians and find out a little bit more about the history of corn pudding or what is that, like the corn in the pan? Spoon bread.
Yeah.
Spoon bread, and really the history of what that is, and to find out people like what's his name? What's this? Oh goodness. Anyway, how a black person was the chef to not Jackson, not Hamilton.
J.J. Johnson?
No. There was a chef that was he was a slave, and he lived in Paris with an American president. Gosh. Anyway, James Hemings.
Yes, okay.
James Hemings. Sally Hemings' brother. Okay, anyway. But responsible for French fries, for creme brulee, for ice cream in the United States.
Really?
That's very important stuff.
Yo, that's very important.
Very important stuff,
really?
yeah. And there was 3 black contestants on Top Chef
I
this
saw
season.
that.
Yes, and so I just loved, and I loved the story, and I loved the evolution of as them as chefs, and really kind of, identifying, fighting this, wanting to be a chef first before they're a black chef because they make myriad food.
Right.
But
sticking true to your roots.
But sticking true to your roots. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's a balance. It's a delicate balance.
It is, and it's a relationship.
Yeah.
I say that with my clients, my cooking clients too. It's like, we're going to create a relationship here. Right. I'm not going to get it right away, but we're going to discover together. Yeah. And this, whatever I come in here and cook every week, is going to be based on you.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Yeah. Well, so stick to that.
I will.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
We'll be back with part 2 of Kysha with Kysha Harris talking about SCHOP.
Yes, love the way you live.
And how that came about.
Yes.